Parents, welcome back. This is Celia again. And one more time, this is our final unit for the summer, but I want to thank you again for all the time you've invested in continuing on the 1, 2, 3 Read at Home journey this summer with me and with your students. As before, in this third unit, we're offering this parent page information to support you in your work with your kids. Some of you may feel that you need that support, others maybe not as much. That's okay, whatever works for you and your family. But wanted to give you just a brief explanation of what we'll be doing, why we're doing it, some specifics about the different activities that your kids are being asked to do, which I'm sure you'll recognize at this point and being in our third unit, and how you can help with those activities. You're becoming a pro at this point, so I know you'll have absolutely no problem in working with your students. You're doing a great job helping your child to be a more successful reader. I can't emphasize enough the huge difference that you're making in working with them this summer, particularly with the end of the school year coming so quickly this past year. We need to double up on working on those skills during the summer so that they'll be better prepared to get started successfully in the fall. So thank you again. Our primary focus, as always, remains reading and listening comprehension, and everything that we do here centers around that goal. So let's get started. As before, we have our core content and our language arts objectives, and these are the key concepts and goals for learning as we work through our story and its associated activities and assignments. These objectives really give us the purposes for why we're doing what we're doing and our goals for what your child's learning should be as a result. We have a response card activity again, and as before, I'll prompt the students to get those response cards out. I'll identify them by the letter number. In this case, our first response card activity for this particular unit is 7A1. This came home in your packet, and it's also available in the activity section of the 1, 2, 3 Read at Home webpage. So however you prefer accessing it, it's available in both of those places. So I'll explain to the students what they'll be doing with their cards, although they're probably also pros at this point on working with those response cards and what they need to do with them. But they still may need some of your help in completing them. And it's perfectly okay to go back and review the picture walk and the story as a memory jogger. Absolutely not a problem. Sometimes we need that along the way, and each of us learn a little differently. I learn primarily visually, so I having seen something really helps me to remember it better. Perfectly okay, not a problem at all. We also will look at our new vocabulary words again, and this story is no exception. You'll notice that there's a few more words included in these slides than what I go over with the boys and girls. I go over 2 words, compete and feats, but there's some additional words that if you could go over with your students as well and help them come up with the use of that word in a sentence, because that will help you to understand that they are understanding that word, how they can use it in a sentence, how they can use it in a regular conversation. That's really the key goal for the vocabulary words, understanding what they mean and how to use them. So there's definitions here of the words, there's examples of their use, and as I said, having the students come up with the word's use in a sentence of their own really will give you an idea if they understand that word and how it's used. The Telltale Characteristics chart, the 8B as in boy 1, is very similar to the Elements of Stories chart that we've used in the other stories previous to this. I will go over these characteristics at the very beginning of the story. Perhaps you've already viewed the story and you'll see that I did that, and kind of point that out to the boys and girls as we go along in the story about the amazing adventures, the exaggerations. We'll be very detailed in pointing some of those out along the way. So having them work on filling this chart out with you would be very helpful as a support and as a review of the story. And also, as before, just helping you out by providing the answers. They don't have to be exact verbatim answers that the boys and girls give, but in the general ballpark would be fine. There's some questions where the answers will vary. And again, that may be their unique interpretation of the story, which could be different from yours and mine and other students, but that's perfectly okay. We all have unique interpretations from time to time. And once again, I will stop at a certain point in the story and ask students these questions. I've given you the answers also to help them if they're struggling to recall. This mid-story check-in just gives an opportunity, so let's stop and look at the story thus far. What have we learned? Do we remember what we've learned? Do we remember the different elements of the story that we've talked about? And again, as before, reviewing the story pictures is perfectly okay to jog those memories. Not a problem at all. And you'll see again here, there's very specific kinds of questions. We'll talk about those in more detail a little later when we get to the comprehension questions. A description of the Think, Pair, Share activity again is here. And this is just a strategy again that you can use to encourage your child to discuss with you not only their answers, but also their thought processes as they encounter any questions that they work on. Just gives you an idea of how are they getting to the answer they're getting to, or what's the proof in the pudding here. Now we start on the comprehension questions that you can work on with your boys and girls, and this will help you gauge your child's understanding of the story. Did they comprehend the story, what they heard? And again, listening comprehension is pretty equal to reading comprehension. So as they listen to the story, did they comprehend? That means if they read the story, they would equally comprehend. And the first kind of question here are the literal questions. And literal questions are basically straight on story details, just the facts, ma'am. There's pretty much one answer for literal kinds of questions, such as what is the title of the story? What is the title of the tall tale in this particular instance? We have quite a few evaluative questions here on John Henry. And evaluative questions really, again, let us know your proof for the answers. As your child is giving you the answers, will let me know how you got there. What justification do you have for the answer that you're giving? Just to show that they've really thought this through. That's really an important skill in comprehending stories and logically looking at the information that's presented before them. Then we have the inferential questions, which are really kind of the top of the mountain kinds of questions. These take the most intellectual activity for your students. And these are where they're reading into or being intuitive about characters, their qualities, based on their actions. What's really going on? We've gotta dig a little deeper here to come up with these answers. So those are the inferential questions. A big thank you for working with your child this summer. This is our third and last unit for the summer. We're making plans for Fall 1, 2, 3 Read as we speak. I know there's lots of questions out there. What are the schools going to do? At this point, we don't know. We will know soon, probably. But regardless, what you have done this summer in working with your students is huge. Really giving them a jump ahead, keeping those skills stable during the summer. I don't know if you've heard of the term summer slide, but we not only have summer slide this summer, we almost have a COVID slide. Kind of a double whammy in a way. Working with your students this summer is really making a huge difference for them and keeping them active and involved and thinking and reading this summer. I hope you've been able to participate in the summer reading program with your students. Lots of great activities we've had this summer, lots of prizes. That's important to keep them reading during the summer. They can use their stories they've worked on for 1, 2, 3 Read at Home this summer as part of their summer reading program listing. And as I've said before, but it's so true, and that's why I'm saying it again, remember, you are your child's first teacher, and you are doing a terrific job. So again, thank you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your summer. Hope you're enjoying the stories and the activities. Hope you'll have a great beginning to fall as we move on to the beginning of the school year. So take care, and again, thank you for participating in 1, 2, 3 Read at Home this summer.